Hello, everyone. Neil LaFortune here, Gretsch drum artist, Gretsch drum lover, coming to you all the way from Aurelia, Ontario, Canada. We are doing a pre-record today, so the date is February 16th, and we are doing this ahead of time so that Karl and I could jive our schedules to have a great chat about his music career thus far and his love for Gretsch drums. So today's guest on episode 72 is the amazing Mr. Karl Oluf Wennerberg, coming to you all the way from Oslo. And I am so excited to be chatting with him. I've been seeing his videos through the Gretsch Abroad series from Lucas von Gretsch, as well as following him on Instagram and being Facebook friends. And you are in for a real treat. Not only has he played with such iconic bands as Aha, he has performed with, I'm going to hopefully I say these names correctly, Anneli Drecker, Madcon, Vidar Johnson. He is an instructor at the University of Agder in Oslo. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the fantastic Mr. Karl Oluf Wennerberg.
Thank you so much, Neil, for having me. What a treat, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Man, it's been tough trying to jive our schedules because you are one busy person. We've been messaging back and forth, and you're like, I'm at the airport, and then yesterday I'm at the airport and I'm coming home. So it sounds like you've been busy.
Yeah, it's been like a really dark hole, and when you come up from this dark hole, you can't see anything when you have the sun in your eyes, and you're just trying to hold on to things. So it's been the last 3-4 months. It's been like crazy with the studio work and touring. So I'm just grateful that I'm still busy after some years. So but thank you for holding on to it. And by the way, Lucas says hi. He was texting me earlier today. So yeah.
Wonderful. We messaged yesterday. He sent me a picture of him and his girls on the ski, going up looks like a big ski hill. His girls, so they're in Switzerland, enjoying some skiing. And and I appreciate the connection. And he raves about you. He absolutely, he says that not only are you a fabulous drummer, but you're a great person. And you were the first guest on his Gretsch Abroad series, which is cool. I think his daughters were interviewing you or chatting with you that a few years ago, 2018, I think it is.
Yeah, that's correct. And he has a lovely Danish family, so it was a great honor to meet him. And he is lovely and a clever gentleman, and he plays like really, he has this creative vibe when he plays. So he was such a great interviewer, and he had so many exciting and fresh thoughts about being a musician and a performer. So that was great.
Yeah, now he definitely does. He has some great insights, and I always check out his interviews, whether they be on camera or written interviews. I always will reference those because, as you said, he will always have a little bit of a different take on somebody and ask slightly different questions than what normal interviewers would ask. So yes, I appreciate our friendship. He's a real sweetheart of a guy. But let's go back to the beginning of the pandemic, and where were you? What happened with your career at that point? Were you out on the road?
Yeah, we were touring with Aha. So we were actually in New Zealand, and we were heading for Japan. And just like 7, 8, 10 hours before the flight, Japan was cancelled, and so Singapore and the Asia tour was cancelled. So then we had to fly back home. I flew back home to Norway, and I just thought, okay, maybe 2, 3, maximum 4 months, and then we are on tour again. So I wasn't that stressed, but hey, still having this pandemic all over us. So it was. I was not prepared in any way to deal with that situation, and then there is of course there is a money issue, and I have 3 wonderful kids. We have a house. The expenses are still at the same amount, and your income is going downhill. So it was pretty. It was a dark period, actually, to be honest.
You're the first person I think that actually said that. It was definitely very stressful here until we realized us Canadians were going to receive some government assistance, and I know a lot of places did not, and we're super grateful for that. That got us through, because if we didn't, I would have had to have gotten just some kind of a job to get me through. So I totally feel your pain. So what did you do? Did you work somewhere else? Did you do something else? What did you do?
Yeah, I teach as well at the university. So that's a kind of a steady income. And same as for us here in Norway, as for you guys in Canada, we got some money from the government. So it was almost in balance, but it just started to go further down, actually. So what I did, I just in a way, I just thought, okay, I'm getting a bit older. Is it true that what I'm telling to people, that I play because I am a musician? I have never ever had a decision made. I was before I was 2 years, I started playing. So I've always been a performer. I always been a musician. So I thought to myself, okay, maybe this could be a turning point, So I decided I will not touch my sticks as long as the pandemic is going on. Just as a project, will I miss it? Will some part of me be missing? What about my perspective of being a musician? Will that affect in any way? So I was just quit rehearsing, and for the record, I rehearse nowadays again every day. I rehearse, make my fingers and hands feel all right, keeping it up, So I was just closing down everything and focused 100% on my family, on my kids, my wife. So just trying to get this ordinary life going, because the schools was shut down. You had homeschool, so you just had to make it work in a way, and then I couldn't start rehearsing because I didn't know what to rehearse to. And so as an art project, I was just quitting, and the month, maybe I think it was like 12 or 13 months after, I started feeling that I was something was lacking. I was missing something, and my temper was a bit on the way up.
Yeah.
So being in music is good for me, basically, and I just learned it, and it was a good lesson for me that it's true. I play music because I am a musician. And I need music. That's basically why I'm doing this. It's not to impress anybody. It's because I need it. I feel much more in a balance when I do music. So it was a great lesson for me. On the dark side, it was like it was also like a kind of a depressing time because you just didn't know what to do, and as an artist, as a musician, as a performer, we had some support from the government, but on the other hand, the shopping malls was still open. You could be like many people in the shopping mall, but in a big venue, you could only be like 200 or 500 persons. So it didn't, I really didn't like that kind of signal that the government sent out that we were not that kind of important. So it's been weird times, to be honest.
Very, very strange time. I remember going out. I remember staying home, and that was the longest I'd been home for years and years and years. And then I would go to the grocery store, and I would be looking at people, with my mask on. If they came anywhere near me, I was like, get away. It was right. So we were so borderline paranoid because we didn't know about how contagious it was. And now, yeah, we're learning to live with it a little bit more, and the vaccination rate is good here. So hopefully things start to turn around. Things are opening up here now again, which is good. But so you mentioned that you started playing drums before you were 2. That's crazy. My son was the same way, but tell us about that.
Yeah, as a kid, you want to be like your father, basically. So he played different kind of instruments, and he also played drums for a very short time. And he came home with sticks and a practice pad, and I was just picking up the sticks, and it was just I didn't struggle to just play with them, So, and I liked it, and I kept doing it. And when I was 10 years old, my dad had talked to the musical director of a marching band, of a brass band, saying that my kid is quite decent already. Do you think he could audition to this brass band? And there I was beneath the age of so, and I said yes, bring him. And from that point of, I was rehearsing, and I was like really eager. And I made an appointment with my father, and I think that was quite clever. He said that, no, you're a member of a group, so you have to take care of your part in this group. So you have to rehearse and you have to be prepared, because if not, the group is not going to be as good as it could be if you did it. So I had to write under a kind of commitment with my father that I should rehearse at least 30 minutes before I went out to play with my kids. So from early age, I learned this kind of discipline, and I really fell in love with rehearsing, because it was a good thing to achieve things that the older kids in the street could do, and this youngster like me certainly could do the same. So it was like really, really good for me to be inspired by myself learning new things, So from early days, I started rehearsing, and I've always rehearsed. So that's how it started, basically.
That's wonderful. Did you have lessons? Did someone show you these things?
I had a lesson once a week in 1 year time, I believe, with a guy called Björn in the brass band. And when I was playing in the brass band, I was introduced to an older drummer, and he had a brother, and they took really good care of me. They invited me to their home, and they had a drum set. So I started playing the drum set at age 12, I guess. And I was just so totally into it, and still today I'm just thankful for Vegard and Trond, who really took good care of me. So and for the money I got for the confirmation, I bought my first drum set. So about 14 years old, I had my first drum set, and it was a funny story actually. I could rehearse only 2 hours a day. So between 2 and 4, I could rehearse, and but I stretched it, and every plant in the house dead. they died because of this sound. So and my mother, she's really into plants, and she had got plants from her mother. So it was like old plants, It was not okay, but anyway, I was so eager in my early days, and yeah.
Wow.
And from that, and from the brass band, I played in an orchestra, and from that on, I mentioned Trond and Vegard, two very, very important people for me. They introduced me to another guy that actually was writing music, and he was writing for a gospel choir as well. So I was asked to be in the backing band for the gospel choir, and I think that was so generous of these guys, because it was the coolest choir and the most beautiful ladies in the community, and me coming in there was fantastic, and also a really important thing. It was not like we were doing Andrew Groach things or like we were copying things. It was original, I could play whatever I liked, and I think that's also really good for my mind, to not only copy and then trying to do it as good as I can. I from early days I did my own stuff, and I think that's a good thing.
Wow, there's a lot of good lessons here for young drummers and old drummers. No, really, like from the beginning of having the discipline, writing out the agreement with your father to practicing, spending a lot of times practicing. It sounds like you worked on rudiments, and it sounds like you worked on reading. And not only that, but you improvised and used your imagination. And sometimes it's tough as a teacher as well. Sometimes it's tough for me to get the kids to not look at their book, so I'll close it and I see them panic, and they're like, I don't know what to play. And I'm like, okay, we're going to learn how to improvise. We're going to take the material that that you've played, and we're going to play it without looking at it. So I find certain cultures tend to maybe want to read more, and other cultures are more improvised, but that is wonderful story. Now, did you go through, obviously with the brass band, you were playing rudiments and things. Did you play traditional grip, or did you play matched grip?
In the start, I played traditional, and so for my early years, I played traditional, and as I grew older, I think I was around 16 years old. I got this fabulous call from the best drummer in the city if I want to sub for him. and he was on national TV. He was like quite famous in my country, in Norway. So it was like a big thing, and he played match grip, and he had studied at Berkeley, and he was like a very, very, very good drummer, and he was like a very cool guy, like an alpha kind of male. So I was looking up to him. So I swapped from traditional to matched around 15, 16 years old.
Wow. And do you play traditional grip at all now?
No, only matched. Actually, if it's sometimes if it's like if it's just if you have to feel something, I will play upside down or whatever. Then I could use traditional, you know, but like if not, I use the traditional. No, the match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's simpler. It really is simpler. It's easier to get around the drum set. There's always that big discussion with drummers, you know, whether you can play this. And I don't understand playing traditional grip on a big drum kit, because I had a lesson with Dave Weckel and near the beginning of the pandemic, and he looked at my drum set and said, "You told me you want to play traditional grip, but your drums aren't set up for it." Like, very good. So so it's a different animal. But I remember Jojo Mayer saying, you know, traditional grip makes you look like you know what you're doing. And it's true, but it's a different grip, but this is just such a versatile and great for everything.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Whatever works, man. Whatever works.
So what happened after you subbed in? And who was that drummer, the Norwegian drummer? What was his name?
His name is Bruce Rasmussen. And the funny thing is that we are actually colleagues at the university in these days.
Wonderful.
You know, so the ring is like.
That's wonderful.
It's and he's such a cool guy, you know. So and he was. I was taking one, of course, a lesson with him because I want to check him out and learning some things. And he was like, "Yeah, wow, that's good." And I was increasing, you know, doing my homework he gave me, and he called me up, and since that we have been hopefully he will agree that we have been friends, you know. I hopefully, yeah. There is a funny story though. I have to say. So it's it was me. I was study with him at the university, and there was another guy that was like really good, and his name is Yango, and my name is Karl. You know. So and I've called. I called Bruce and said, "Hey, it's your favorite student calling. Oh, how are you, Yango?" So it was. He's always been like really funny and such a sweet guy. So yeah.
Now, do you find any difference in the way that Europeans play drums as opposed to the way Americans play the drums?
Yeah. I mean, you guys, you have so many different drummers, and so do we. But we have like Jon Christensen. He is like one of the most important jazz drummer in our history, I will say, and he is Norwegian.
Yep.
And the way he had approached, he was. Forgive me, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes here, but he for me he was like really musically driven. He was not having the school of like I have done with my rudiments and stuff. He was just curious and trying to just make it feel right, make it sound good, make it in a musically way, and I think that really have affected us as Europeans. You have the traditional marching bands, you know. You have a really important thing in the US is also the rudiments, which I really like myself. But that gives you another perspective than just trying to make it feel right, you know. So I think it's different in some ways. But then you have the trump card. It's just music, you know. It's the same, but different, you know. So I don't think it's like a clear, good answer to your good question. I think it could be very different, but it could also be like we are actually looking to America, and in many ways we want to be as good as Steve Gadd or Steve Jordan or Mark Uriana, or, you know. So there is also a big influence from the States to Europe. So I guess it just depends on who you ask. For me, it's about the feel. If it feels good, it doesn't matter if you're European, from Asia, from Canada, whatever. If it feels good, it feels good.
That's one thing that I've noticed about drummers that are musicians and they play for the music. They put the music above what they are going to play. Someone like Steve Gadd has a load of chops, but you wouldn't necessarily know it when you see him play with James Taylor. It feels so wonderful when he does it. And Steve Jordan. The older I got, the more that I wanted to be like those guys. I went to the Modern Drummer Festival in 1999 in New Jersey, and they had some wonderful drummers there, from Marco Miniman to Steve Smith, but then they had Bernard Purdie there. And after the Bernard Purdie, right, man, I wanted to take my clothes off while he was playing. It just felt so good. But I decided then that is what I want to play like, more than Dave Weckl. But I still work on chops and things like that because I love that too, to make playing easier for me. But man, I'm telling you, we will definitely work more if we pay more attention to those musical aspects rather than the drumnastics of things, I think so. But again, it's kind of funny. We like, as drummers, we tend to like both. You know I do. I like Buddy Rich, but then I also love Art Blakey, Max Roach, Bernard Purdie, and a slew of the Nashville drummers, the session guys. They became my idols. Jeff Porcaro, and became, right? Yeah. So
Keltner. Yeah.
Jim Keltner, Carlos Vega. There's man, it's all of those and Ringo.
And yeah, indeed. Get back.
I know.
And you have what's his name? Jim Gordon.
Right.
He had some troubles with his thoughts, so he turned out. But listen to his playing. I mean that's probably as good as it gets in my ears. Fantastic drummer.
Yeah, and everybody said that. Jim Gordon, that was kind of from Keltner to Porcaro. Everybody was like, that's the guy. And Hal Blaine, man, I didn't know that Hal Blaine was 5 of my favorite drummers, right? I didn't realize that.
It's have you seen the movie with what's the name of the studio click?
The Wrecking Crew?
Yes, the film Wrecking Crew.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, and he's such a storyteller, you know.
Oh, I
he's
know.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I got to meet him, because that would have been absolutely incredible. So who were your drum heroes? Who were the drummers that really inspired you when you started? And who do you listen to today for inspiration?
Yeah. Of course, it started with the two brothers, you know, that took care of me, because they were so much above me. It was just so cool to hear them play the drums. But I remember clearly a moment that changed something within me, and I was seeing Buddy Rich at the Muppet Show, and he was playing on the furniture. I mean, down the stairs and stuff, and I was just so blown away that one man could be able to communicate such great emotions. I felt uplifted, you know. I felt, wow, he's amazing. He makes me wanna smile. He makes me wanna check this out. He makes me wanna do something with my life. And that was like a really turning point for me. I still remember where I was and who I was with when I saw it. So that had a tremendously impact on me. And so Buddy Rich, and since I was playing in the church. There was a band in these days called Koinonia, and with a drummer called Bill Maxwell, and he had just such a great feel with the Abla Boreal on bass. So it was just super groovy. So I kind of from the funk kind of attitude to the jazz kind of impressive technique with the Buddy Rich. I really I felt that I want to be like them. So and then after a while I heard Synchronicity with the Police.
Yeah.
And just the right pattern. And I think the right pattern kind of changed my life because it was so huge impact on a very simplified way of playing drums. He was saying something really important with like clear and words that I couldn't understand. I've been a really big fan of people talking about complexity in a very simple way, you know. I really don't understand why people are trying to say simple things in a very complex way. But I really adore people saying complex things with simple words. And for me, Stuart Copeland is one of the best drummers because he was not afraid. And I think it's so important to let people understand that you shouldn't be afraid. It's so important. And so I just felt his attitude, and he was just straight down the alley, having like self-confidence. And so I learned so much things about myself hearing Synchronicity. So I think the biggest influence on me have been Stuart Copeland. And then it went on. And I was, I was rehearsing, and it was, as you said, complex things are also like cool to be able to play, you know. So I was like really into Vinicolo Aiuto. And there is a record with Gino Vanelli called Nightwalker, which is incredible. that kind of pop drumming is insane. So I was like really into Vinny Colaiuta. And I still don't understand how fluid he could be when it comes to meters, when it comes to if he plays 60 notes or a triplet, or I mean even in 5. If he play in 5, you know, it's so fluid, impressively. So I was like really into him, and then I got saved because I don't think that he has the same aesthetics that my heart wants to be a part of, you know. So I was like saved actually by Radiohead.
Right.
And then it became more into the music. It's all about the song. It's all about the music. It's not about how you hold things or the sticks, or it's not about the setup. It's not about it's making justice to music. It's making music. Don't let anything stop the music. So that was like really an eye opener for me. Go and listen to Radiohead. It's not about the drumming. It's about the music. So so for a while I was like really fan of Radiohead, and actually and this is like, it's not that long ago actually. And then I have to say what I'm listening today. I think Josh Freese is one of my absolute favorite drummers. And also he has the punk attitude, and he has like really good aesthetics when it comes to his way of playing music. I really think he's absolutely stunning. And then you have Abe Laboriel, yeah, playing with McCartney. I think he's like such a powerhouse, with love, not with will, you know, just singing, but it's about love. Wow. So I think he's like fantastic. And I have to say, I mean, like, listen to the Traveling Wilburys with Jim Keltner. It's just, you know, or Hank Williams, or you just want to hear it over again, because it's the feel, you know, it's the vibe. So I think he has to be mentioned. And then it's more about music, you know, a very good drummer record. Everybody should check out Belonging with Keith Jarrett.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Absolutely world class. It's Jon Christensen playing the drums.
Okay.
He's so playful, you know, and it's just it's like a river.
Beautiful.
And yeah, it's beautiful. So so nowadays I hear more into bands, you know, than drummers.
Yes, that's good.
There is a Norwegian band you should check out that's called Jaga Jazzist. That's world class. Pat Metheny has worked with them, and they are one kind, you know. That's just super cool. Yeah. Was that a good answer?
It's a wonderful answer. Wonderful answer. Now, when were you are giving some really excellent insights and some deeper thoughts that I haven't had from certain other folks. I'm not sure if it's because you are from Norway or it's just you and I are very similar age, and I totally understand the Police reference. That was eye-opening for me and inspiring, and I absolutely love Stewart's playing, and really dig Radiohead. I had Clive Deemer on the show maybe about 6 months ago, and he was speaking about his experience playing with Radiohead as well. And people tend to revere Clive. He's a wonderful, wonderful drummer and such a terrific human being. But man, your comments and your thoughts are very, they're deep, and they are introspective and absolutely wonderful, man. I'm really enjoying this. And once this goes out to the World Wide Web, I think people are going to absolutely love this as well. Now, when were you first exposed to Gretsch drums? Did you see them as a young person in Norway?
When I was 18 years old, it's a long story, but the short story is that I wanted to go to Berkeley when I was 16, and my parents said, "You can't do that. You have to have education." So I was just thinking, what's the fastest way to Rome, you know? And then it was I could start as an electrician. So I started as an electrician, started in that kind of study, and I couldn't take it because I knew that I am a musician, and that's who I am, and that's what I'm gonna do. You can't stop that. Nobody can stop that. So I quit. And then my father said, "Then you should go to the military, then, please." Okay, so I went to the military, and there I met a guy that had a Gretsch kit, and the bass drum just sounded so amazing. It was like a 20 inch with 14 inch.
Yes, magic.
It just sounded incredible, and according to him, I made a promise to him and said, if I can buy this drum set, when I'm sponsored by Gretsch, I will give it back to you.
Come on.
You know, and so and he was when I was getting this deal for some years ago, he was reminding me on this, and I couldn't remember it, but I said, okay, have it,
Wow.
take it. But that was like one of my legacies, you know. So that's kind of my Gretsch history. It was a bass drum, basically, that just sounded out of this world, perfect. Even though if you played soft, or there was like clarity in the dynamic. So I just fell in love with it, and so that's how I met Mr. Gretsch.
What were the rest of the Gretsch drums in that set?
Yeah, it was like 12, 13, 14, and then it was quite of odd, and there was like a Slingerland hardware putting into it because it was like not so good. And the funny thing is, it was from 1972, which is my birth.
Wow!
You know, so it's same age as me. So in many ways, I aged with these Gretsch drums, and I played. I rehearsed quite a bit, to be honest, on that Gretsch drum. And every time I used it as a 4-piece, like 12, 14 snare kick. I never used actually the 13 tom. So no, it has been with me for so many years, but now it's back where it first.
Wow! Yeah. You did. What color are they?
It was like a non-color, just the
maple. A maple.
Maple. Yeah.
They're beautiful. That's timeless. You know, Neil Peart had a Gretsch kit in those exact sizes. He bought from a friend of mine, ordered at a drum shop. Even though he was playing Tama drums at that time, or maybe switching to Ludwig, he bought a 12, 14, 20 in the Tony Williams yellow, and then he ordered a 13. So he had a 12, 13, 14, 20 Gretsch kit that he used to practice on at his house. And I'm not sure what happened to that drum kit. Hopefully his daughter, who plays drums, is practicing on that drum kit. So as you said, it's a funny size having the 12-13 on top of a 20, but hey, who's to argue? I've had many 20 by 14 Gretsch bass drums, and they sound unbelievable.
It's the best size from my point of perspective, like a 20. But I have so many different kind of drums because I play so many different kind of music. So But my way to go to it's 2014.
Wow, that's crazy. What do you own now as far as Gretsch drums? Do you have the USA series? Do you have the Broadcaster series? What color? What finishes?
I have so much drums, you know.
Yes, here we go. We're gonna write this down.
I have the top notch. That's white marine pearl, and then I have and that is 18, 20, and 24, and then I have walnut satin 26 bass drum. And then I have a broadcaster, like a jazz kit, 18, 12, 14. And then I have, no, that's Brooklyn. And then I have broadcaster. I have 22, 13, 16. And then I have lots of snares. And the reason why is often I could be within a tour, and then in Norway it's quite. In Norway, it's a small country. If you're lucky, a tour consists of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that means you are back home Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, but so that could maybe repeat in 3 or 4 weeks time, you know. So, but then you have all the backline at one place. But then you get the studio call, or a rehearsing, or whatever. So you need different kind of drum sets.
Yeah.
So that's why I have several drums, and I also have a couple of kits at my office at the university, and of course I want to have the students playing on decent drums.
Yeah.
So that's why I've got these Gretsch drums at my office as well.
Wonderful. What are some of your favorite snare drums?
I have a story for you.
Yes.
Hopefully it will turn out nice, but I have this one. My favorite, and it comes with a case, you know.
I've never seen that. That's killing me here. That is.
Yeah. So it's anniversary snare, you know, and and this is.
Oh,
look at this.
The 135th.
Yes, it is, and that is by far my go-to snare.
Really?
And it's so light, you know. It's aluminum. So it's just so whatever kind of music I'm playing, this could fit in. And
really?
Yeah, I'm just super happy with this. No, it's like really detuned, and you have
42. The 42s.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just want to the way of me damping snares. I have this small fill, you know.
That's cool.
Yeah, and
Looks
then
like a tail.
you can. So I always have like a different sizes of the fill, you know.
That's crazy.
That's really working good. And if it's like you're gonna be like
dead.
Really dead, you have also the ring. And I didn't find it, but also like snare weight, you know, that's really good. It's the same principle. If you play like really hard, this can go up. So the dynamic is still a good thing. So that could be a tip.
And you have a trigger, like a D drum trigger on that?
Yeah.
Is that for the Aha show?
That could be. For the Aha gig, I use bell brass.
Oh, right. Yes,
yeah.
I've seen that in your video.
So that's my two favorite snares. The aluminium 135 years anniversary, and the bell brass. The reason why I'm using this on tours is because you have the temperature. You know, it's cold when the trailer go, and it's into the venue, and then it start heating up. So I just noticed for myself then when on tour, I'm always mostly happy with those kind of snares, not the wood snares, because that could be more like
they change with the temperature.
It could change in a bad way, you know. So that's why I'm using the bell brass actually. Man. I'm very happy with that as well. I think it's just rock solid in every kind of meaning.
Is it not super loud? I know you can play softly, so maybe that question is kind of pointless, but I have the USA Custom bronze drum that I use for outdoor things, and that drum, and in bigger indoor ones as well. But I mean, you can play it soft, and it has some terrific body to it. But I find that sometimes that bronze drum can be pretty loud, and I've heard something similar about the bell brass. Do you find that at all?
It could be super loud, you know. So you should be aware of that.
But you can play it softly as well, and it still sounds wonderful. Do you have the bell brass tuned up or tuned down?
That's more like in the medium, maybe closer to a bit under. So it's like a more body, full tone. And for when I play with Aha, I have trigger on the snare, so I can have like more like a white noise color, or I could have like a different kinds of colors to it, but not so much like sound, you know.
Right.
I find it quite difficult to be aware of the dynamics when it comes to of using too much trigger, you know.
Okay.
And nowadays the front of house desk it's like a studio. You have snapshots to every song. So I mean, this could be a bass drum. You can just
so
the
cool.
Technician could be. So as long as we have this kind of pre-productions, there is time, and of course there is skills to actually produce every song in whatever kind of drum sound direction you would like.
Wow.
And then you will maintain the dynamic range of your instrument in a better way than if you use too much electronics. So I use like kind of synth drums, toms, for instance,
wow.
because that has a function. But I rarely trig bass drum and snare and toms. It will maybe add sounds, like I said, white noise, or like yeah.
Wow, that is Aha your first high-profile gig, or was there something before that?
I mean, I come from a small country, and Aha is the biggest band. It's the only band that's playing in Champions League, if you want to put it that way. but I played with international acts before that. But by all means, it's the biggest band we have here in Norway. So nothing compared to that actually.
Mm-hmm. And how did that come about? How did you become the drummer in Aha? I loved, of course, here in Canada, Take On Me was a huge, huge tune. I was speaking with Lucas, and he said that I needed to check out the album that came out in 1986. So I listened to that yesterday morning, and with Manhattan Skyline, I think it's called, on there. Some really great songs, and I wasn't aware of that. I wish I was. So how did the gig come about for you?
That's quite a story actually. When I was 15 or 16 years old, outside Trond and Vegard, as I mentioned earlier on, there was a small group of friends of their, and I was having rehearsed, and I was coming out, and I was like that was not like mobbing me or doing like things that's not good, but they were like teasing me a bit and asked, so what are you gonna do when you grow up, kid? Like those kind of questions, you know.
Yeah.
And I said, and it's just like an instinct, and I put my finger and said, you know what, I'm gonna be a very good drummer, and Aha, they will call me.
Come on.
You know, I just said it like this. And I was, what have I said? You know, and then they start laughing, you know. So for the first time I heard The Sun Always Shines on TV. I just saw that, man, this is the coolest. This is the coolest guy in the class, you know. I want to play with him, you know. I want to play with the coolest kid in school. So I have to be as good as possible, because maybe they will call me someday. So and the years went on, and my best man, Johnny Shaw, he is a like ridiculous musician. He's just amazing good bass player, and he was playing in Magne Furuholmen, the keyboard player in Aha, his solo project. And I came straight forward to Johnny and said, you know what, will there be any possibilities that you can invite me to this, you know, jam session or whatever, and if it turns out good, then we can develop something, and if it don't, you know, at least I tried, you know.
Sure.
So that was my closest call to like a superstar. It's my best man. And Johnny did that. And he called up Mags and said, you know, I have a drummer that I've played with, and I think he will be super. Should we just do a session and see what happens? And Mags was saying, yeah, what's not to like? Bring it on. And so we met at Mag's place, and for me, I was in love, you know, for the first second. He was just a super cool guy with such amount of energy and like clear thoughts about what he was trying to do. So it was so from that on, I became a member of his solo project. And then he has another super band, which is called Apparatchik, with Guy Berryman from Coldplay, and it's Jonas from Mew, and it's Martin Tereffe, super producer from Sweden, living in London, and Mags, 4 people. And he was inviting me and another guy called Erik Ljunggren. And obviously, he had some second thoughts about inviting Erik and me to this project. And it went very well. So I was releasing an album with our Apparatchik in 2009. And the last day of this session, Max came out to Eric and me and said, how about you guys trying a short tour with a-ha, seeing if you could be the new backing band?
Are you kidding?
I was trying to be cool, but it's not going to happen. I have to, of course. I was like hallelujah kind of attitude. So we went to South America with a-ha, and later that spring the manager called and said, you know what, you got the gig. So I was quite some emotions going through, and I was playing like really bad the first gig. I was too stiff and just afraid of doing things wrong or whatever. And you have to know that I have posters on my room at my parents' home, and I had this leather around my wrist, want to be like Morten Harket, So I was quite a fan, actually, because I really liked the music. So playing with them was a bit tough in the start, and you have to some point you have to kill your idols, and you have to be yourself.
Yeah.
And when I was I could do that, it was much more organic and cool drumming from my part.
That is incredible. It's amazing how your career has manifested things, at it from an early age. You made the declaration, you worked very hard, you kept your eye, maybe not necessarily consciously, but consciously, of getting better and being the best musician and person. And then you want to play with a-ha, and then it happens. How long ago was that you started playing with a-ha?
It was in 2009. I think it was in March 2009. We played concert and we started rehearsing in February 2009. So it's been some years, and I've learned so much from those guys. So it's been a really treat for me, like musically, to be close to that kind of creative force, if you like. Really inspired me.
Especially when it's a childhood or a young, a band that you absolutely loved, and that it went well, because sometimes when you play with someone or meet someone that you really idolized, it doesn't always go as well as you think, and things don't go well, and it doesn't work out. But I'm super happy for you that it did, and that's incredible. How many dates do you typically do a year?
It depends. This year we are actually starting working. We're starting rehearsing in mid-March, and the last concert is the 31st of July in Los Angeles at the
Wow.
Hollywood Bowl with the Los Angeles Symphonic Orchestra. That's quite a gig. So that's a decent amount of work. So it's then you have like half March, you have April, you have May, you have June, you have July. So that's good. That's a good tool. Yeah.
Where will you be going?
We are starting off, I believe, in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and we will go around in South America. We will do then in just before Easter, we will play 3 gigs in Los Angeles, and then New York, and then we will go home and start the European leg in end of the April. So and May and June in Europe. Then I think we are going back to Brazil South America in July, and we're finishing off in Los Angeles, Hollywood Bowl, and that's on the bucket list, you know.
That is incredible. Oh man, no Canadian dates. Have you ever played Canada?
Yeah, we have been in. I think we have been in Toronto in 2010, I believe. Beautiful country.
It's big.
Really good atmosphere. Friendly. I really liked Canada, I have to say.
It's lovely.
But I was thinking, I think it could be interesting to hear some of my faults, some of my bad stories, so people can learn from it. And you were very kind of you to say that you were happy for me that it went well, because as you said, it could turn out upside down. It could be like a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I was in the early 90s. It was like a big thing here at the jazz scene was to have a DJ playing records, and then there will be like a jazz keyboard player and maybe a drummer. And I was invited to one of the best, in my eyes and ears, a jazz keyboard player called Bugge Wesseltoft. He's amazing piano. And there was a DJ, and it was me playing drums. And I was just such a fan of him. Mm-hmm. So I was actually more into see if was he saying something with his body language that was good or not good.
Yeah.
I'm doing right here, or you know. So I wasn't myself. I was trying to please him instead of just pleasing the music. And so we did 2 gigs, and he never called me back. And I think it's something that you can learn from this. If you don't dare to be yourself, if you're so eager to please, you're losing yourself. And if you're losing yourself, you can't say anything, because then you're not with yourself, you know. Yeah. So it's there is no connection between you and the music and the bandmates. You have to you should try to be yourself, and I think it's an important, really important lesson.
Wow, I can totally relate to that, as many of our viewers here can totally relate to that, because you want a gig so badly, you want to fit in, you want to get into this scene, and then you don't know. I remember Tommy Igoe even saying this story that when he was with Blood, Sweat and Tears, somebody on the bandstand said that he was rushing, and somebody else said that he was dragging. He said, and he played poorly because he was trying to please them instead of just saying, you know, the heck with you guys, I'm just going to play. Good lesson and great story. So how did you overcome that, or how does someone overcome that then by just being themselves? How do you do that?
That's a really, I think that's a very good question, Neil. For me, it's at least for me, when you get older, at some point I was just telling myself that you know what, I'm not going to be afraid anymore. I'm not going to be afraid anymore. I have to dare to be myself. So for me, it was like a decision. Mm-hmm. But it's not easy. I'm not telling it's easy. But you should try to be the small kid that started with this thing, you know? Try to find the small kid that started with the drums, that started with the music, and let him grow, let him be loved. Then I think you can start feeding yourself the right reasons, you know. I'm doing this because I like music. I'm doing this because I need music. I'm doing this because I believe in music. And I think that could be like a really, really good thing of a good path of getting rid of your afraidness. You shouldn't be afraid. You should try to not be afraid. You should try to love. You should try to love, make love to the drums, make love to the music, try to be in the zone, and just try to remember yourself. I'm doing this because basically I just I like it. I love it. Not because of you want to impress another musician, or you want to impress your father or whatever. Mm-hmm. You should do it and remind yourself that I'm doing this because I basically love it.
That's wonderful. Wow. Very deep. Was it, I think I read something that Morton came to you after an Aha gig and said, don't be afraid anymore. Was that something that happened, or to let go of your fear?
No, I think it was in my early Aha days. One of my gifts is energy. So I find it easy to put energy into the music. I don't know how, but that's the way it is. And he was giving me like a really good lesson. And he told me that you should hold on to that energy. So just as an example, hold it on to your stomach. Don't let it go away. You know, don't play too loud, or keep focus on having control on your energy. And that was a really deep lesson for me, because I was always trying, not always, but sometimes I was maybe over the top when it comes to dynamics. And a drummer going over the top isn't that heartfelt kind of good vibe kind of drummer, at least not in my ears.
Right.
It could be like for 10 seconds, or it could be like really, really good to go all over, all the way to the top. But in general, I think it's a more good energy of having a little subtle, you know. Not it becomes noise. But if you really together, but not over the top, it's like powerful. But if you go over the top, you lose the energy. And for me, it was a good lesson. It could be like so powerful to play it. Could be super powerful to actually be capable of holding back instead of giving all in, and to be able to feel that kind of dynamic and balance that you're actually holding back. It's a very, very good feeling. So you should try to maintain that feeling instead of pushing it, you know. So Morten had a really good lesson for me there.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
You don't often hear those stories from, at least I don't, from other bandmates or other artists. Sometimes they don't give you that critique because maybe they're not sure of what is missing in your playing. They just know that something isn't resonating with them. But that he could articulate that to you in those terms was really wonderful. When you were talking about playing with that intensity and that energy, it reminded me of Steve Jordan. It reminded me of Stanton Moore or Cindy Blackman, and so many great drummers that have that energy, but it doesn't overpower, as you say. It's fitting for the music. Wow, this is wonderful. This is really insightful and deep and wonderful. If you would like to speak about, I've got a couple of other artists here that I took from your credits from the Gretsch site. I'm not sure if I'm saying this. Anneli Drecker.
Yeah, she's a great singer, and she's a great songwriter as well. She had a very cool electric pop band called Bel Canto, and playing with her it's been a while because of the COVID situation, but she also has been a part of the backing band for a-ha from time to time.
Awesome.
So you should check out her music. It's beautiful music, and with the lyrics that actually has something to say. I think that kind of music, I mean, the world needs that kind of music. So you should listen to it. It's great music. And a very good band as well.
I will have a listen to that as I'm in here today. What about MadCon?
Yeah, I have just been subbing for different kind of drummers. They are like quite a big act here in Norway and in Germany. So they are super energetic people, and it's a party. It's a riot going on these concerts. So it's a cool gig to once in a while come and be a part of. And they are very rhythmic oriented. I mean, they sing and they also rap. So it's a very good place to be as a drummer, because you are being appreciated in a good way.
That's amazing. And the last one I have here on my little list is Vidar Johnson.
He was the first person that I bought a record, and I just liked the record, and he called me to ask, could you be in my band? So that's a kind of a special moment for me. And he was singing in one of the most famous bands in Norway, and they were having the lyrics in Norwegian. So there was big here in Norway called Vamp, and so he's been like touring all over the country with that band, and we were actually living together for a short while in New York. So I know him very, very well, and he sings like incredible. He's a really powerful vocal performance, and he is also very rhythmic oriented. So playing drums with him is also very pleasant.
That's wonderful. I will check those artists out, and I encourage everybody else to check those out as well. Do you what do you have that is best represents your playing, either on a recording or a live performance? Is there something, if someone were to say, Karl, give me some of your best work, where can we point people? Where's a good source?
I think one of the albums that I'm like really happy to be a part of is it's a Norwegian mix of Tom Petty and Bob Dylan, and maybe I think it's a mixture of those two, and he is called Tom Roger Odland. His last record, I'm really happy to be a part of. I think it's when it comes to music and drumming and the whole aspect of me being a part of something, it's a good picture of who I am.
Wow, that's terrific.
Yeah, and I think also I'm really happy with the drums on the keyboard player Magne Furuholmen from a-ha. He had like a solo project with with a Christmas album. That is also like, I'm super happy how the drums turn out. That is great. So these two you can check out.
Yeah, those are some terrific references. Let's shift over to talking about your teaching experience at the university. How long have you been there? What is it that you teach, and how did that begin for you?
AHA had a breakup in 2010. So in 2011, I didn't have much work. So I started calling around to universities, checking if it was any interest of having me as a drum teacher or as a teacher in general. And then I got offered a job in my hometown, University of Agder. So I started as a student, as a master student, and as a teacher in 2011. So I did my master degree there, and I had like a small steady income from the university, and then it just became something that I really wanted to go into. Like so, in 2017, I started working there as an associate professor in a 50% job, and I'm being like really happy about that. It's a good way of tasting the new wine. If you can get me right, it's what are the kids eager to check out? What kind of music are they listening to? What is music like? And how do I listen to music? What is important for the kids? And that keeps me on my toes as well, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a good way of being, having like a update on what's going on in the business and what's going on the musically scene. So that's really good. What I teach I teach drums, of course, and then there is a electronic you have regular, you have guitars, you have bass. We were one of the first university that acknowledge the computer as an instrument. So there is a computer class. So I teach the main instrument, computer, as well, and I teach how to play in a band. And then I am I'm the chief of a master program for performing, like the guys that want to be a professional musician. So it's kind of diverse, kind of different kind of aspects that I'm teaching, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing for me, because then I can give something back to people that want to achieve what I've been lucky to achieve, and I can help them get some thoughts, get some perspective, and prepare them to real life. So trying to get them out of the bubble and trying to squeeze them in a gentle way into the kind of real life. So I feel it's a good thing. I'm happy for that. I have to say.
And how does that work with your touring schedule? How do you work the university lessons?
I usually apply for a month of having someone to sub for me. So because in the start of the year you never ever kind of tour, and so it's basically after Easter, summertime, and then it's just before Christmas. So if I plan this right, then it's going to be all right. then I use the same sub. I'm really happy with him, and preparing him and preparing my students, so they have the consistency, you know. So if you plan it, and I have a really good relationship with the leaders, so they want me to be touring, because then I actually teach what something that's real, you know.
Yeah.
So in a good way, I'm trying to adapt as good as possible to the schedule, and the chief are trying to let me go on tour when I can't be away for a year, you know. But then
Right.
as for now, it's a good thing.
Wow. I read on, I believe it was Gretsch.com, that you were putting together a compendium on rhythmic oral training. What is that all about?
I mean, when you're developing your time skills, and I think it's important to say that it's a skill. It's learning to walk. It's like learning to bicycle. It's something that you can be trained up to maintain tempo. It's not something that someone has and someone has it not. It's a skill. You can develop that kind of skill. One of the things that many people are doing is they are doing it to a metronome, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just get really good hearing the metronome, and you are forgetting about yourself. Mm-hmm. So I want to twist around on that. I want you to be able to listen to yourself, and that comes the self-confidence in again, you know. Can I listen to myself? So I'm training them to listen to themselves. So having like a click on you can start on quarter notes, and then you go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So you are stretching these kind of things out, and the only thing that keeps you in place is yourself. So instead of just listen to every quarter note,
right,
you're listening to one metronome every second beat, you know.
Yep, half notes and then a whole bar and two.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you divide that into more. So, and that is like a really good thing, and it helped me like really, really, really well to be able to listen and feel if I'm increasing or not the tempo. And it's just important to everybody to know that it's not a gift. Somebody has a gift, like they have these lines that they can play, but maybe they're not that rhythmical. Somebody has a really good technique, but they maybe don't have a good feel. So there is always something that you should work on. And if you have time issues, I have good news. You can develop your time. It's not. You should know this. It's possible.
Do you use a specific app for that to help the students so they can practice?
Yeah. You can have. There is a good app called Time Guru, which you can have the gap of clicks, and I think there is a good one called also is it time metronome gap? There is
gap click. The Benny Greb one.
The Benny Greb. Correct.
That's awesome.
Then there is a book called Beyond the Metronome, which is like really good, and I believe he's an American brother called Mac Santiago.
Okay.
And Beyond the Metronome, it's a great book, and it's I can really recommend it.
Yeah.
And then there is a different kind of, you know, if you let's just take an example, which is like super easy if we have the time. If you, for instance, use, can you hear this?
Yep.
If you you play 16 notes, and you play one beat, and then you play the one bar, and the second bar is 15, 16 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4.
Displaced by a 16th. That's cool.
Then you're back on it, you know.
That's cool.
And those kind of ideas, then you're forced to hear on yourself. Don't listen to the click. Listen to yourself. Then you will develop a good sense of timing.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you could hear the click moving back a 16th note from that to the and then eventually onto the downbeat again. That's super cool.
And you
It's
can
like
do the same. You can do the same as for it when with triplets.
Yeah.
You know. No.
That's wonderful. I play like that anyway. Hey, where's the click? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Good.
That's
and then I teach a lot of I think having a good amount of coordination is like really important to be a good drummer. Most of the time, I don't have a technical issue. I have a coordination issue because I have this idea and I can't get it done because of my coordination.
So what do you have then? Yes.
Just go basically, you know. If you let me see, if you do like you can do like single notes, huh?
Okay. Yep.
And then you do double with another. And then you swap.
That is crazy.
Just single things, like really easy, down to earth kind of basic.
Yeah. So what are you doing with the hands?
Coordination.
There?
It's like, and then you can develop. You can play two. I just it's opposite.
Oh right, it would be yes. That's funny.
Yeah. That's a good thing of having two kind of patterns going. It's a good idea. Then I think it's really good to play triplets, like 12/8 kind of grooves, or like really looking into real Riley beyond bop drumming, you know.
Yeah.
So be able to play triplets, because then you have 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 2 2 2 2. It's equal. If you play 16 notes, it's the same, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But if you do triplet kind of exercise, it's more difficult when it comes to the coordination, which is a good thing for your beat, because if you have good coordination, then you can actually have you can play like really together, and when you play like really together, then it started happening, you know. Then it's starting to there is air in your groove, and when you have the consistency and you have air, then it's starting to feel good, and then you're starting to groove. So it's I think it's a good way of getting you feel better. Practice on your time, practice on your coordination, and then the what's the name for it when it's
unisons? Unison?
Yeah, it's 100% unison.
Wow.
So that's kind of my focus when it comes to drums.
That is amazing. That is great. And those are the things, or foundational things, that you can still work on as an experienced player. What do you practice these days, Karl?
Yeah, nowadays I start practicing again, and then I play like single and double, and trying to not have any kind of accent, you know.
Yeah.
And then I move to paradiddle, and then I just increase the tempo and just trying to play as even as possible, like really pianissimo, up to fortissimo, or
Yep.
so it's that I'm doing. I'm trying to work on my hands again, the technique, and I'm doing different kind of coordination.
Body motion things.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I mean, if you get into Steve Gadd, he was a dancer, you know, he could dance. So I think it's a good thing to have some good coordination when it comes to your body.
That's interesting. It makes me wonder if it would be good for me to learn how to dance. My wife and I were in Cuba a number of years ago, and they were asking us at the resort, saying, "What do you do for a living?" I said, "I'm a drummer." And she said, "But how are you a drummer when they basically said that I couldn't dance. I hadn't learned any kind of steps or anything like that, but I feel I could do it." So I wonder if that would be a really smart thing. But your body motions ideas are wonderful. I'd really like to see more of that stuff and possible ideas on practicing and the coordination, because it looks like it'd be very valuable. Because if you watch yourself when you play drums, some of us have, I don't think I have this any longer, but it used to be maybe stiff, or there was tension. And now I purposely try and play with no tension. That's why we practice the coordination in the hands, so that we forget all that and we just go play the music. But I was wondering, I would love to see what it is, what kind of motions that you do. That'd be cool. If at some point you ever were to do a little video with Lucas, or shoot something, that would be really cool. Love to see that.
Yeah. And then and you have YouTube. You should just check out like basic dance movements with your feet, and then you can go further with your hips, and then with your hands. And trust me, it's a great way of learning playing drums.
I believe it. That's great, because I do teach some young kids that have tremendous coordination, and some who I'm surprised they can walk into the drum room here without hurting themselves, because they're not coordinated. Some of these kids. So the last couple things I wanted to ask is, when did your relationship with Gretsch happen? How did that come about? What does it mean to you to be part of such an iconic family brand?
I think it's for me. It's I don't buy too much drums on the internet. I need a local dealer, because if the house is burning, I need someone to call. You know, so I can't call the internet to say I'm having a problem with my snare. You know, so I need a person. I need someone. So I've always been treating one person. And I've been loyal to him all the way. And so there was actually him asking if I was interesting, because when I was playing a hall, it's like a big poster kind of thing. So you're like visible. So me getting this job, he was asking, should we try to get you some drums, and what kind of drums do you like? And I said, what kind of drums do you like me to have, basically? And when he was saying Gretsch, I said, I have had a Gretsch kit since I was 18 years, and the Gretsch kit is from 1972, like me. So it just feels right. I was a little bit nervous about the snare drums for Gretsch back in 2015, but they proved me wrong. So because I've always had a hunch that Ludwig was having better snares than Gretsch, but I have to say that I'm really happy with the snares. That's one of the most important instruments as a drummer you have. It's the snare drum. So when this deal got in, it was superb for me. It was a really a bit rough birth because of some shipment issues, and we were playing like MTV Unplugged, a record with a and the drums nearly made it to the session. So I was a bit stressed in the start, but it turns out to be like a really helpful thing for me to have some drum kit that I just trust basically and feel inspired when I'm playing on, and it's just as an artist, as a musician, it's about feelings. For me, I just have a good feeling when I sit back and play my Gretsch drums. Maybe because I had drums since I was 18 years old. The same Gretsch drum. It reminds me of good things. It reminds me of my I have developed myself, and so I think you should. It's quite important that you feel confident when you play your drums. And for me, Gretsch has that kind of place in my way of getting to play drums. I have practiced so much on my Gretsch drums, so it just feels natural. So it's not like I always dreamt about it. It's been natural, and maybe I'm a lucky guy, having this wonderful Gretsch company behind me, supporting me, and I've been able to meet Lucas. He's such a cool guy, and so it just works basically.
It's fantastic. Wonderful family, wonderful iconic brand, and their snare drums absolutely are. I had other brands, and as soon as I signed my Gretsch deal, I sold my Slingerland snare drum. I sold my Superphonic that I had, and I replaced them. And I absolutely in love with my Chrome Over Brass Brooklyn. As well as all of the other drums. I love that bag too. That bag is
it's beautiful. Huh?
It is gorgeous. I've never seen that. That's yes. So wrapping up here, what one or two valuable things that you have learned so far could you impart to someone who comes up to you and say, Karl, I want to do what you do. What are some of the things that you can impart to me? What kind of wisdom can you let me in on?
Yeah, I think it's important to everyone to understand that there is nothing such as a secret sauce. There is no secret. It's hard work and really being just fond of what you're doing. There is something that I will recommend you to focus on, and number one is timing. Number two is coordination, and then playing unison with both hands and your feet. And I think you should pay attention to your technique, so you don't have any troubles with your arms further down the road. But
Mm.
I think it's focus on the coordination and time. It's you will be well off. And the good thing is, if you have that like really good fundament, it's like a magnet. If you have good timing, it's like a magnet. People are like want to play with you. They really want to play with you if you have good timing. So focus on that. I think it's a good. That's a good way of getting things done.
Terrific.
And I also want to say that, you know, right here, right now, we will never get this back. So being able to capture the moment, to be in the moment. So when you count it off, you are feeling yourself, you are with yourself. So be in the moment. I think it's a really important thing, and try as good as you can to develop a good state of mind being yourself. You are unique. There is only one Neil in this world. And if Neil is not Neil, are you existing? So being able to be yourself, I think it's very important in art, in music.
Wow. This has been incredible. Thank you so much for your generosity of your time and your wisdom and your wonderful stories. And congratulations to you on all your successes, and I wish you more continued success. Thank you so much for today. That was wonderful, Karl.
Peace and love.
All right, everyone, take care. We will see you next time on the Gretsch Afternoon Drum Break. Everyone, we'll see you soon.